I am impure. My tongue never intended for restoration. Seriously, folks, you don't know where this tongue's been. Anyway, welcome back, everybody. I am and with me, as always, is Salad. Today, sporting the dingy or Firekeeper set, as worn by Anastasia of Astora so long ago. And today we're heading to the gutter for real, which means, of course, heading down the communal Majula honey bucket. Always a good time. But on a happier note, I would like to send out special thanks today for that lovely title card to Chris Ruppert, a familiar face from the comments. Thank you very much for that. Anywho, there's very little in the gutter that's new to New Game Plus, except when you drop down this hole right here in the structure, and a couple of citizens warp in and blow up in your face. I was ready for them and I still got caught. What I wasn't ready for was this one not exploding but punching me to death. It's very rare they actually go for the melee attack, but, well, it does happen and it can kill you as sure as anything else. The rest of the gutter and Black Gulch, however, have absolutely nothing new to offer, so we're just gonna get ready to take down the Rotten. And I'm gonna bring as much of an entourage as I can, and this time, for lack of any better alternatives, I'm even bringing the worst NPC ever, Lone Hunter Schmidt. The issue with Schmidt is that he only has a shitty shield and a bow. If he has any melee weapon whatsoever, I've certainly never seen him use it. I really don't think he carries one. And in addition to his underwhelming equipment, he also has AI that makes Lucatiles look downright brilliant, in that he rarely attacks and he also really likes to hang out in the fire pits in the Rotten's room. In fact, remember I said that. Not a good start there, but this actually should be a pretty easy fight for casters or other ranged types of folks, because the Rotten is not exactly a speedy mover among Dark Souls 2 major bosses, and also his attacks don't really have great range. I mean, he has a pretty good swing with that cleaver, but he doesn't have anything that will really close distance with you in a big hurry. According to my notes, he does not like lightning damage, but I'm not real impressed with what the Great Lightning Spear was doing, and even less so, of course, with the Standard Lightning Spear. Sunlight Spear might be better, but I'm not about to grind Sunlight Medals for the Covenant reward at this point in my life. I see Schmidt at least has the sense to try and heal occasionally. Yeah, for the aforementioned reasons, that being the rotten slowness and lack of range attacks, this is a pretty boring boss fight when you do it this way. He's completely uninterested in me, what with the trio of assistants, keeping him very well distracted. Oh, and I did use some spices to get myself access to Crystal Soul Spear off camera, and I'm liking the damage I'm getting off of that. Very nice indeed. And even as we won the fight, Schmidt managed to get himself killed in a fire pit for absolutely no reason. That's the kind of quality NPC I've come to expect from Mr. Schmidt. Ah well, all we needed was a meat shield, and to that extent he served admirably, I suppose. And we get another Soul of the Ineffable, this one belonging to old Papa Nito, but as with the others, there's nothing really interesting in the item description for it. And here I am kind of forgetting where the exit is. Might as well yoink a free fire seed while I'm at it, though. Yeah, given the damage I was getting off the miracles, I'm really thinking that when it comes to lightning damage, it really expects you to have a pure faith build if you're using a lot of that, so I'm probably better off in most cases just sticking to my hexes, even if the boss isn't specifically weak to them. Just a thought. I'm sure I'll be putting it to the test over various boss fights remaining in the game. In the distance there, we see the entry to Shulva, but I don't want to go there again. It's an icky place, very green and poisonous. Instead, we're going to visit with our friend, the old Melty Head. Ow! And I'm going to be leaving his dialogue in again, because it's going to be very important to our new ending that we're going for this time, so it may be useful to you as a refresher.
No one has come Young Harlow, do you wish to shed this curse? Then accept the fate of your ilk and face the trials that await you. Unless you have already joined the crestfallen. Young Harlow, there are but two paths. Inherit the order of this world, or destroy it. Only a true monk can make such a choice. Very few indeed have come even this far. And yet your journey is far from over. Outgrown Hollow, have you what it takes? Truly? Young Hollow, seek after Vendrick. He who almost became a true monk. The Vendrick is certain to guide your way. Fledgling Hollow, may we meet again?
Goodbye, giant creepy tree head that is on fire. We'll get right on that king finding thing. Of course, from our previous efforts, we already know that King Vendrick has long since gone hollow and has no guidance to give us. But his ring will be very handy. For now, however, we are going to head back on to Majula and spend some of those newly acquired boss bounty souls on a few levels. I'm thinking we should be able to get at least 2 out of this. Maybe more with consumables. We'll find out in a moment.
You are blessed with bearer of the...
Yes, yes, seek the king. You've made that very clear. The head has made that very clear. We're on it, I assure you. A few more points for our magic damage stats. And that will suffice for now. In the post-rotten treasure chest, we also picked up a something, which we will try and trade in. But first we'll offload this regular smooth and silky we've got. An old whip. A rare item, but not one that particularly interests me. A petrified dragon bone, on the other hand, we can always find a use for that. The King's Shield in particular, I'm thinking I'm going to want to have. And we've also got that Soul of the Ineffable, of the Old Dead One, aka Gravelord Nito. And we can see what our buddy Strayed will give us for that. The answer is Numbness. A hex that transforms its caster's flesh, temporarily reduces received damage but darkens one's sight. If it cannot be observed, it does not exist. Certainly a common conception, but one with far too many exceptions in this world. As the description implies, it temporarily boosts your defense, but it kind of gives you tunnel vision. It darkens around the edges of the screen, kind of like getting shot with one of the End's tranquilizer darts does in Metal Gear Solid 3. I thought about taking that. It's not bad, especially if you're not in an area that's already dark, but I decided I wanted to go with what Ornifex has to offer. Even if I'm not going to use it, it's just something I like to have. And that, of course, is the Pudding Pop. Ultra Great Sword symbolizing guardianship over the undead crypt. The sword has never seen the light of day and is steeped in dark. Very, very demanding stats for this item. Requires lots of strength and a fair bit of dexterity, intelligence, and faith, although we have enough of those 3. So yeah, I'm not going to be using it on this run, but if you have the stats for it and can take advantage of its dark elemental scaling, it can be a pretty devastating weapon. Quite the damage monster. Not a huge fan of its moveset though, which is more like a great axe than most ultra great swords. Pretty similar to the wife on a stick in that respect. Anyway, we're gonna munch on some consumables here. Don't need another copy of the Rat Authority trade. And that will give us enough for another level up. I think maybe we should put one into hit points because my survivability remains less than I would quite like. There we go. Alright, and it is about time to start making our way toward the castle. And on the way to the Shrine of Winter, here is another New Game Plus new enemy placement. Pretty minor one, just one of those poison guys. Still doesn't pay to get careless. And when we arrive at the castle gate, there's another new red phantom here. This one usually presents more of a problem, though. It's a Drake Keeper type of guy, and he is carrying a Drake Keeper's war pick. Fortunately, he's a little slow about responding to arrows hitting him from a far-off distance, so we can get him infected with poison from a distance. And using my old standby of the Dark Orb to keep him from getting in my face. This is actually going really well. This guy is a fairly tough NPC to fight in melee. I've been killed by him more times than I care to admit, especially given that it is just an NPC with all the AI limitations thereof. So, yeah, I was really happy to see how easily he went down to Dark Orb spam. It's not a particularly interesting method of offense, but it is effective. Dark Orb spam, on the other hand, maybe not quite as effective when you have that many royal soldiers breathing down your neck. Yeah, this spot gave me a little bit of trouble. Didn't even remember to pick up my soul pile that time. Well, this demanded a little bit of a change in tactics, so I decided I was going to try out that thing that worked so very well with rat crowd control. And we'll see if it has any effectiveness against slightly more dangerous game than rodents. That's what I like to see. I also like to see the way it flings them up into the air like popcorn. Alright, we just need to activate one more of these golems, and that should bring an end to the royal soldier spawning, and we'll be able to make our way inside. Not sure why I'm having so much trouble with royal soldiers all of a sudden. I mean, there are a bunch of them, but they're not exactly complicated. They just kind of run up to you and swing. All the same, Dark Storm juggles. Solution to all of life's problems. Or all of life's problems involving a swarm of royal soldiers in any case. Now, while I was looting around the edges of the castle, this is a dead end, but thanks to this helpful message here, I discovered there was one of those invisible hollows with a smooth and silky there. I really never knew about that. Still discovering new things in this run. And now, here in the basement of Castle Drang Lake, we are going to summon a convenient sunbro, because we are about to check out probably the second biggest New Game Plus surprise in this game, second only to the early appearance of the Duke's Dear Freya, and what is, for my money, the most difficult fight in all of Dark Souls 2. Scholar or original recipe. Looks like we've got a kingly gentleman here with a Havel's Great Shield and a wife on a stick. I appreciate the rolling heavy approach. It's one I favor myself, as you well know. And where are we going, you might ask? Well, you may recall, if you have a very good memory for such trivia, that on our first run through the castle, I mentioned we'd be revisiting the throne room in New Game Plus, because there would be something waiting for us there. Well, that's where we're headed now. And it probably ain't gonna be pretty. We will just have to plow our way through some of your basic Royal Guard type enemies first. That is, of course, the easy part. And I'm just going to pop a consumable here to make sure I have some decent soul fuel for my resonant soul spells. Because I'm going to want to unload all the ordnance I can here. And what could await us in the throne room of the Lost King and Queen? Yep, double pursuers. And these aren't your bog standard pursuers either. These are industrial strength, family-size pursuers. They are incredibly powerful. Just like you see there, most of their normal slashes will do almost all of my health bar, and if they should happen to catch me with that blue glowing curse attack they have, the unblockable one, well, that will one-shot me. So we're gonna let the king there try and keep them busy. Looks like he can actually take a little bit of a hit from them, certainly a lot better than I can. Not too many, though. And I'm just gonna pepper them from afar and hope they don't get too interested in me. Which, now that the king is dead, they most certainly will. Not real sure what that guy's name is supposed to be, but it certainly got really whacked by the word filter. Dark Souls 2 does have a notoriously overzealous word filter. Somewhere online, the complete listing of all the words and letter combinations that it censors is out there. I'm sure you could search that up if you're interested. It is kind of amusing in just how excessively over-comprehensive it is. But never mind that, I just got my ass kicked. Fortunately, our word filter abused guy is right back in the same place with his summon sign, so we can take another crack at it. That's what we want them to do. We want them to do their big slow attacks as much as possible, preferably when I'm not in the middle of an attack stun and in a position to get hit by them. But if they can do those dashing slashes and we can avoid them successfully, or the unblockable and avoid it successfully, then that's a good opportunity to get a hit or two in. Oh, this time I'm the one who's going to get dropped first. Like I said, the unblockable, that's a one-shot. At least with the amount of health I have. Okay, third time's a charm, right? Oh, it looked for a moment like our friend was going to be bringing in the grape-flavored wife on a stick, but looks like he's gone back to the extra spicy version. That probably makes sense. I don't think the pursuer is particularly weak to dark damage. Gotta watch that stamina. Just because we're not doing melee strikes or trying to take everything on the shield, that doesn't mean we can be careless about our stamina expenditures. Also, what the shit was that? Was that a soul spear? That was not something that I knew pursuers were capable of. I'm not sure if any of them but the ones in the throne room here are capable of it. I don't think I ever saw them launch a soul spear before, if in fact that's what that was. That's what it looked like. I don't remember what I said about continuing to see new things throughout this run. Even at this late stage of the game, and what is probably my 5th time through. Ah, Souls series, you are ever full of surprises. I don't know, folks, we're pretty much just marking time until the inevitable here. I have successfully won this fight with assistance before, but I've never done it alone, and even with phantom help, it's never an easy thing, as you've seen by what's become of me in my previous attempts with the King guy. And that's my 2nd time getting dropped to that curse ball emission attack, and I think at this point I'm gonna have to write that one off. For the record, though, what you get for successfully bringing down the Pursuer twins is the Ring of Blades +2. Not a super exciting reward for all the trouble it is to acquire, but that is the only way to get a Ring of Blades +2. So if you're a ring completionist, or you just want to go for maximum melee damage, well, you've got quite an uphill battle. It's a lucky thing Dark Souls 2 does not have an All Rings trophy. I understand Dark Souls 3 does, so that's probably going to be a real bitch if I want to platinum that one. But never mind that. Here in the here and now, we are taking on the Twin Dragon Riders, which is a hell of a lot easier than Twin Pursuers, so hopefully we can redeem ourselves a little here with the assistance of our good friend Belclair. Hey, Belclair. Yeah, remember that, that Ruined Sentinel fight? That was a real bitch. Oh! Note to self, do not get distracted. We're supposed to be redeeming ourselves here. Dying to the Twin Dragon Riders is kind of ignominious. It's a speed bump boss fight at most. But as with all the boss fights here, I am a little unaccustomed to approaching it from a projectile-intensive approach. So, we'll write it off as a learning experience. And whatever else happens, I can still say I didn't die to the Prowling Magus congregation. Belclair's packing a decent punch with those spells of hers. Never really stopped to notice the kind of damage she was doing with her sorceries here, and it's really not bad at all. That Greatbow Dragon Rider is really getting fucked up by my hexes. Always gratifying to see. Wonder if he just has less health than the other one. I never really tried to compare. In any case, we've got one very nearly down at this point, and once we can bring this to a 2-on-1 in our advantage, then I think cleaning up from there will be a piece of pudding. I'm all out of my Great Resonance, but I have some regular Resonance left. Almost. Perfect. I'm gonna go for some style points and try and finish him off with the rat control. Not bad at all. And a little trip back to Strayed because we have our 4th Dragon Rider soul, which means we can get the 4th and last piece of Dragon Rider equipment from him. And the last one is going to be the Twin Blade. It demands great skill of its wielder, and thus serve to test the worthiness of those who aspire to join the Dragon Riders. Well, they were supposed to be the biggest badasses in Drang Lake. I suppose it's not surprising that they would train with live blades.
Bearer, see, less.
And just a bit more leveling up, and I think we can call it a run. Well, not a run, we've still got a good chunk of the game to go, but a run for today, that is. Yep, I think a little boost to the HP will do for now. And we will take a little rest. Well, thank you everybody for joining me for another episode of I Played a Thing, Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin. It has been good seeing you, and I hope to do so again very soon. In the meantime, for Salad and Stone Trader Cloan, this is Zun, bidding you good day. I Played a Thing has been brought to you today by Justin Carpenter, Nolden, Zangamarth, Charlie Dunst, Anonymous Benefactor, John Madigan, Sanguine Games, Misha Van Doren, Craig Patterson, Frank Grizzy, Tim J., Lolo De Puzzlo, Joshua C. Ritchie, Jared C. Rice, Darren Chow, Sonic Rose, EX Potemkin, Alicia Goranson, Argyle Jelly, Mechasaurus, DG Jono, Doug Russell, August Fortnight, Patrick Bellinger, the rest of my very generous patrons, the letter 6, and the number Q. And as always, I want to send out some love to all of you commenters, subscribers, and watchers. As they say in the Scooby-Doo intro song, couldn't have the show without you. Thank you very much, have a good one, and I'll see you real soon.